Hello, hello, everyone. It's Kenyon here. It's Basketball Rewind. On your way in, if you like this content, like, comment, subscribe. I usually don't do that this early in the episode, but I'm going to do that. I am joined by Coach. There we go. I'm mirrored. I'm also joined by Beyond. I'm not mirrored that way. And of course, myself. Sorry, you have to deal with me again. But hopefully you enjoy this episode. This episode, we're going to be doing a couple different things, mainly talking about the Raptors themselves, and we're going to have a bonus episode this week that will come out later, which is going to start with our draft content. Today, we are going to get the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Roach, who missed out on his chance. You guys can't see it because I'm not, but it says future Raps defensive coordinator. You know,
You could
uh,
pay me enough to do that job for the Raptors.
exactly, but hey, uh, there will come a day where maybe they can't afford to. Um, but with that being, I mean, we're trying to go for flexibility as well, right?
Hey,
So,
that's right.
That's the word of the word of the
but
week.
I'm going to get we're going to start this off at the top of the hour. It's not actually going to be an hour, folks. Basically getting coach's opinion on the Pascal Siakam deal. How are you doing? How did it, what are your thoughts on it? And more importantly, the Masai presser.
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I was traveling when it happened, as I was when the OG trade happened. I was on a plane, and Siakam got traded. I was on a train, and it seems like when I'm in transit to go somewhere, someone gets traded. But just to
So
let
Gary
Raptor
gets
Nation
traded and
know,
waiting for you to be in an automobile then in this case.
exactly, I'm not going anywhere this week. So maybe there's not many trades. Although if we have a break between Monday and Friday, might be interesting. So when the Siakam deal happened, first of all, I wasn't too shocked about it. It wasn't a question for me if, just when. I think with the non-negotiations back in the summer, the all lines of communication cut off. That's another discussion, I believe, for maybe another time. But I didn't like the return, quite frankly. I think this is their own fault by doing this, by cutting communications off. I liked what Atlanta did with Murray back in the summer by re-signing him, and now they're going to get more for him, even though Siakam is the better player. I guess in some respects, yes, they got 3 first round picks, but not all first round picks are worth the same. You want two of those picks are going to be in a draft that's been commented on by analysts as a weak draft, and those two picks from about 20 to 30, we'll have to see, but it's not like it was last year's draft, which was everybody said how deep the draft was. And then next year's draft, nobody's going to be giving up picks for that. So I was a little disappointed with the return. I understand Bruce Brown has to be in the deal. Him or Buddy Hield basically had to be in the deal for money purposes. I was a little upset that we couldn't get one of their prospects back. And I don't mean Matherin. That ship sailed a long time ago. That would have been something you could have tried for last deadline to get. But no Jalen Smith. He'd help with his team right now getting to the play-in, and with his player option, which he'll decline, he's going to get some money from the team. And you would have had him in our program and probably would have had a chance to resign him for sure. No Obi Toppin, who I actually am not a fan of, but off our bench, and he's having a decent year offensively, I'll take it. Or no Isaiah Jackson, who's a pretty good rim protector, and it's someone the Raptors really liked when he was coming out from Kentucky. So I was a little underwhelmed with the offers. Jordan Mora is fine, I guess. Tyron Lewis Jr. might not even be in the league next year. So to say that I was thrilled about the Siakam deal, no, they screwed up. Our front office screwed up with his negotiations. They probably should have done this either back in the summer or even at the last deadline, as we kind of all expected. But they never put a team around him, quite frankly. And once they finally put a decent team around him, it was like 2 weeks ago, and they had a few games together. They only lost one game. That was Sacramento. They were down 20, but they came back. And then Pirtle got hurt, and the rest is history.
I mean, it was great. But that's all, folks. Um, yeah, I mean, it was interesting non-trade deadline trade done by Masai. First three-team deal ever by Masai. Probably not the best three-team deal to ever be done by a team. But here we are. I mean, it is what it is, and I think it's very interesting to see the fallout. Your thoughts on the presser, and beyond. I will get to you in a second. I know you and I discussed this already. So
Well, a little bit of mixed reactions to it. There is a part of me where I was glad to see Masai did show some vulnerability because you're in a business where you do work with people. And yes, you can become emotionally attached to them as is always the case. He was with DeMar, he was with Lowry, he was with Siakam and OG. It's can be a tough business in that regards. But I'm not given a pass for the breakdown in communications from last summer. No pass at all. You have your best player with 1 year left, and you just broke down communications. This he's not a rookie president of basketball operations or GM. He's been in this game for 15 plus years. He was the Colangelo's assistant in Toronto. I just can't give that a pass. That's a you got to do better. What's going to happen now in 5, 6 years with Scotty if that comes up? If we're in this situation again, you're
well,
just going
I
to break
mean,
down
come on now,
communications with
coach.
him.
It's gonna be Bob Myers. Bob Myers is gonna actually pay the man. I'm just kidding, people.
Yeah,
Bob Myers
no,
ain't coming here. We can't afford him. Sorry.
he did the politician thing where he kind of captures you and brings you into that world. And but there's I do understand where he's coming from an emotional standpoint with some of these players, but you also can't get too emotional in this business as well. You have to do what's best for the team moving forward. And last trade deadline, I think some of us can agree they probably should have pulled the plug on that. Not every player, but maybe there was a couple that they should have moved off of, and they should have done something this summer, whether it was extend Siakam or trade him then when you would have had more value. It's hard to trade someone with a year left, or sorry, with 3 months left on their deal and get anything back. Like the players we get back, not much of value, quite frankly. Picks we get back, not much of value, quite frankly. Maybe they can be used in another deal. So
Kyra Lewis ain't doing it for you.
no.
So just so people know, typically when a team has a rookie scale deal contract and they are giving you a second round pick to get off the last year of the rookie scale contract, which is an expiring, it's not a good look. Just so people know.
Ask
There
ask
was
the Knicks
ask the
with
Knicks.
Flynn.
Ask the Knicks. Now, granted, there was a time when yes, he did show promise with his speed, but I think he has a long ways to go, and I don't think that the runway is enough here with enough time for him to actually showcase whatever talents that he has. He was 2 for 14 in the G League. I just putting that out there, and I'm not saying that that's all. We need bodies in the G League as well, but at this point in time, I don't think he's ready for NBA minutes. Um, even if we're just trying to see what people have.
I'll just
Coach.
make one more point on the Messiah Princer. And I mentioned this to you guys, and I heard from a friend of mine. I wonder if this job is getting to him. The way that he was acting, the things that he was saying, some of the things about whether he's here or not, this team will win. You know, I understand that from a human element, how it can, but if it's going to, you have to reassess moving forward. Like, can I continue to be as effective from a business standpoint in this organization? Can I do what's best and not let my emotions kind of get in the way or how I feel about this? It's tough. I do get it, but he gives you some insight that when he talked about walking around a hotel for 2 hours about DeMar and with Lowry and with Siakam and with Casey and Nurse, he seemed
Doesn't
like,
seem like a guy that's sleeping very well at night.
yeah, I
I
actually
mean,
do.
I'm not even joking. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, like this summer will be different because I don't think he's not. They've done the drastic things, even though they said they don't do anything at the deadline. They do their busy work in the off season. But that's a anyway. That was the
I mean, I
kind of
kept
a
my phone
lie.
on. I didn't see anything.
But no, I think moving forward, it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years. What's going to happen? Maybe a little bit like a Bob Myers and get off the Titanic before it sinks.
Well, I was gonna say Bob Myers was smart enough to get out before then. Bob Myers would have been gone last year.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway,
also to consider that one more element to add to this that may add some complication to this or complexity.
Hmm.
New boss.
Oh, I forget
Keith
his name.
Pelly.
It's not Michael Fisdale because Michael Fisdale has been out for a while, but there's
Keith
someone
Pelly.
new that is.
Keith
yeah.
Pelly is his new boss.
Yeah.
And Keith Pelly is the new boss, and I don't know what their relationship's like prior to that. But Keith Pelly's been around forever in this case in Toronto sports and communications and broadcasting. So some form or another they've crossed paths in the past. I don't know. No one knows what that relationship's going to be like. And I do find that interesting that he's mentioning all this stuff now. Um, so we'll see how this all plays out. But it is interesting the way he was talking. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, this was probably his most honest presser, in some senses, from the standpoint that, hey, Pirtle was a mistake. Usually you wouldn't say that in a presser, right? Um, you know, it's like we know, but no offense to Pirtle, but hasn't been great. And ironically led to probably the two moves that he probably didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I think he admitted to not really assessing things properly. Well, one of the things that he did is he did say I didn't assess things properly, but he also didn't necessarily talk about what he wants to do to rectify that or how it's going to be different in the future. He didn't talk a lot about that sort of side of things, and that's what I think what was missing. The other thing that I would say that was very interesting is the conversation around the picks. He basically outlined that they don't plan on using both picks. Now, some people think, oh, there's someone in France that it's like it's February, not even. There's a lot of time between you. Beyond made a great point. Bilal Koulibaly wasn't on anyone's boards at this time of the year. He was loosely on mine, but he was not in the first round. He was like ended the first round at best. This dude flew up.
I saw him a lot of mid second round mock drafts.
Yeah, he flew right up.
And just listen to Rafael Barlow too, how much he flew up over the last 2 years, that kind of thing.
And he's still he just turned 19, which is crazy. There are guys from last year's draft that if they were in this year's draft would probably, Bilal being one of them, GG Jackson being another, would probably be top 5 and potentially almost a consensus number 1. So it's very early yet. Buckle up, people. But it does not sound like it sounds like they're trying to trade into other drafts, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people think that they're trying to trade into this draft, and it doesn't really seem to be the case. There's a lot of teams that either don't have their pick for 2025, or they a lot of teams don't have a pick this year. First of all, first and foremost, they do not. So I find that very interesting. We'll see what happens. There are still some moves to make between now and the end. We don't have to go through all of them. Are there any thoughts that you guys have left about Mr. Miyagi Masai?
I'll just say is I'm curious what 2024 pick gets you these days. That's the only thing I want to know.
If you combine them, you might be able to get into 2026 or 2025.
maybe. I don't. I think that's the question around all this.
Yep.
What is the value of a 2024 pick these days? I don't know how much value it is compared to what people think it is. And I'd be curious to see what could come out of it. You put it with a player, can you get more than you expected? I don't know. I just wonder
Are
how.
we even in a position to do that?
Um, I Well, if you put that one of the picks in Boucher for something, you might be able to get something half decent. In
That's
theory,
true. That's true. I was thinking like bigger fish because of how Masai thinks,
yeah.
which I
I
don't
mean, I
think
don't think he's got a
is
card to play for
possible.
bigger
No,
fish.
he doesn't. He doesn't.
No, like none of these players that are out there still remaining. You pick any of the vets that you want to pick, and I think right now we're talking about potentially one, two, three, four, five vets. I think off the top of my head that are probably potential trade bait. I don't see what's in it. That's not going to be. None of them combined could get you anything of what we call a big fish.
Yeah, I would be looking to trade that later pick though, because what's the point of having the 29th pick and then you have the 31st pick for less money? You
Yeah,
might as well
the
get rid
the
of that
the Indiana
29th.
pick, you mean? That's exact
No, no,
or
the
sorry, the
OKC pick.
OKC. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly the one that I'm thinking that they want to kind of move out of
yeah.
and potentially use that to get someone. The other thing is that again, without us going through all these different targets, we could do that on our own. But I want someone that they don't have to negotiate with for a couple years because I don't think we've proven that we're good at that. We still have someone on the roster that we're allegedly negotiating with and close to a deal, and they're still here without a contract. So I would whatever they do. I know some people have their preference, which by the way, I don't. Just for the record, just for us to say this, I don't think we're getting Grimes. I think that we will be outbid based on the reported teams like the Jazz and Houston who have better picks and better prospects to flip into a Grimes deal and better contracts. So I personally don't see us getting Grimes, but I know people have their
Whoever
preferences.
Grimes fits in on this roster.
I will I know a lot of people disagree with me. I think that people think that he would fit in just fine in the GTJ role instead of GTJ. I don't know if I agree with that. My main issue with Grimes is, and anyone who's argued with me and said, "Oh, he's actually a wing," even though he's 6'5", he's only 1 inch shorter than or taller than Bruce Brown. Okay, that's not and like we already have a guy that's 6'6" and really shouldn't be playing as a small forward defensively, which is RJ. It's going to be interesting to see where it all fits in. I think that I worry about having three Knicks players and what kind of click that makes, since there's already kind of a bit of chemistry between the two Knicks, more so than there is with those two Knick players and potentially your supposed star player. I say supposed just because, like, I'm not saying my opinion. I'm saying he has been lauded as the man now. So
No, yeah,
it,
no. They're
yeah,
whether you love Scotty or you think he's the guy or you're not sold on him, they're dying on that hill with him. And I don't mean to say that in a negative sense. They're just that's what their plan is.
yeah.
Well,
So with that being the plan, it's like I'm trying to make this. I'm trying to also think of no Grimes in favor of Scotty because I don't want him to all of a sudden. It's like, why is he getting frozen out by three Knicks players who are now running house in this team?
Yeah. He's not that dude. He's not that dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people say if anyone can make it happen and make it work, it's Scotty. But at the same time, you want him to kind of take the reins. You don't want him to be, I'll even use this term, subservient to three other players on the team. That doesn't make any sense. We just traded a dude supposedly for that reason. So even though that dude was sacrificing as well, so it just doesn't make sense. Herb Jones, I don't think that will also be outbid for. So I'm just gonna say that's not a possibility. But beyond talking about targets, we've mentioned targets in the past. Is there anything else from this week besides the game? We haven't talked about the game. I don't know if you guys want to talk about the game. We don't have to because it seems to be a flashpoint.
I would say we haven't talked about this team actually really since the trade.
No, we haven't.
Talked
We haven't.
about picks. We've talked about other future trades. We've talked about, in this case, what Siakam might look like on a new team. No one's actually talking about the team in this case, at least amongst us.
No, people are already even if you think about it, even on the Bird app, people are more interested in the next trade rather than talking about what we have. That tells you a lot, people.
Yeah. I'll just say this. I'll sum it up this way. The defense was bad before. The defense was bad currently. The defense likely to be bad in the future. It just is what it is. I mean, we can keep on changing the seats of the Titanic. It is what it is.
You still have deck chairs.
Yeah, there's still deck chairs, still playing. The band's still playing, right? The band's still out there playing, guys. Like, when it's all said and done, you need to get some, this is really what comes down to me. And I keep saying this all the time. We can make as many trades we want, man. If the philosophy is rotten from the core, it don't matter who you come in here, right? You got Dennis Rodman, Gobert, Draymond Green, Joe Dumars, and I don't know, pick who you want, point guard, Jason Kidd is prime. It ain't going to change in this case if the philosophy of this team defensively does not work.
I don't really think that we have a set, consistent defensive philosophy that makes a lot of sense so far.
I'll throw this to coach, man. I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems like the coach can't seem to figure out which guys should be put in their strengths, and he seems to be putting them towards their weaknesses every time I turn around. You tell me, coach. Maybe I'm a layperson. You've actually done this type of thing for a professional. So you tell me, am I missing something? Because that's what it looks like to me.
No, I don't think you're missing anything at all. We've continued to put Scotty on these very quick point guards, yet we know that he is a very good help defender, and he gets a lot of his blocks by helping someone else out around the rim. I think what we've realized too, to a degree, and if you don't agree with this, that's okay, you guys, but I think we were a little spoiled with Nick Nurse and his defensive tactician strategies.
I agree with that. I think
because this group right now is terrible when it comes to defensive tactics that they implement during a game. I never once said, "Boy, that's a great idea," or I've never said like Nurse had stuff where if Embiid
that's a great idea. Nope.
He would have. He mentioned
it's the basic thing, coach. Let me throw this at you. It's the basic thing. You take the Scotty example, right? We like last night we got RJ running around chasing Brunson. What the hell is Quickly there for? I thought everyone tell me from Knicks fans, everyone else, man, he's a great point of attack defender. I don't remember I see a point guard that Quickly was defending. Please tell me.
I was listening to a space earlier, and someone was just like, "It's like, you know what we need? We need point of attack defense." That is exactly. I'm like, wait, we have Quickly, so what? You want to get another point guard to play beside Quickly, to play beside Dennis? So now we're playing 3 point guard lineups.
And honestly, to be fair to Dennis is very good at the point of attack.
He is. It's just in terms of the way that he thinks the game offensively, he's not always the best offensive. He's not someone who is a conductor of the offense.
But our coach in this case has got guys in this case are incapable of playing point guards, as coach said, out there running around chasing them. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know. I'm just this flummoxed and just discombobulated some nights where I'm just sitting there going like, what am I watching? Like, this can't be for real. Really?
Well, I think too a little bit. The Pirtle injury has really hurt this team. They're lasted rebounding since his injury, and it clearly shows. But also, you had mentioned the point, and I think we said on the last show as well. They've been playing for a third of the season one center. They have no size up front. Outside of Pirtle, there was no size until Porter showed up. He's a little bit of size, but other than that, there's not a whole lot on this team.
But even then, coach, like we have Pirtle, we play him for what, 25 minutes a game? There's 48 minutes in an NBA game. Like,
oh, he hasn't been great. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't been great. I'm just saying when I watch these games,
I'm just saying, like, even if he is playing great, his best games is still like 25 minutes.
Yeah, he's a 25 minutes.
Like we need this is why I keep trying to tell people, like, we have minutes to fill, and like unless you're putting out Thad for every single game of the rest of the season, which you might break down Thad.
Right. Well, yeah. On a side note, man, I mentioned this yesterday on the Bird app. Is it me or does like Precious look much smaller in Nick's jersey? He came out. No, I'm not even trying to. He came out yesterday, and someone mentioned Jack or someone said he's on the floor. I had to look around to see where he was because he was so small in the Knicks jersey. I said that guy used to play center for us. You know, like OG looked bigger than him. I'm sitting there going like,
it's crazy. I saw OG next to RJ,
yeah,
and RJ is a big dude,
yeah,
and he looks small compared to OG.
yeah,
You
right.
didn't I didn't realize how big OG was as like just his shoulders and stuff until you see them side by side lining up.
Precious is like a two guard out there against the Knicks. I know maybe because the Knicks have a bigger team, so
Yeah,
he's smaller like, up against guys like Randall. I'm like, holy smokes, this dude is playing backup center for us.
and he was dunking all over Boucher, which is funny.
Well, there you
We don't have to go into that.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
go.
when people were saying about
Right, right there.
he had such a good game, it was in garbage minutes for the
oh, I
record.
didn't say he had a good game. I'm just saying he was dunking on people.
Yeah, no, I heard when people were saying about, oh, we had 18 and 10.
Oh, people need to stop that. People were like, "Oh my gosh, we shouldn't have let go of Svi
yeah,
Mihailuk." It's like, dude, he is. That's
yeah.
no, no, no,
I'll
no,
say
no.
this
We're
about
not
12,
between
12 and
crimes. I
6
love
came
it.
in garbage minutes, and Porter had a decent block on it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can put that to bed. More quality basketball to come, man, guys. Look forward to it.
Nice. Was there anything else, any other takeaways from the game that you guys wanted to get to? Because other than that, in terms of Raptors related stuff, it's going to be a lot of this coming forward. So, again, these parts of episodes or these episodes per se are probably going to be shorter and shorter, at least till the end of the season, because as we start ramping up into draft season, people. But yeah, is there any other thing that you guys want to talk about?
No, I think the topic du jour. I let that marinate for another week or two,
Makes
and
sense.
then I'll make my assessment at that point.
I agree. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I
yeah, we
will
got
say
plenty of time for that.
Grady got minutes, finally got some run, got going. That was really nice to see.
I see you, Reese. Hey, what you talking about, man? Greedy in the
Uh,
building.
Exactly.
Shout
Exactly.
out to
My
Mouth of
man.
the North.
Shout out to
I'm let the
Mouth.
quick points, boy. He ain't feel a thing. I'm worried about
He's
this.
probably not going to sleep until the next game.
No doubt, man. Greedy doing his thing, man. Look real good.
He is looking more comfortable, I must say, on the floor. They're hitting him in spots in the corner where they're a lot of these guys do draw a fair amount of gravity. Scotty, RJ quickly for one. And look, Brady's, if he knocks down those shots, he gets to play basketball. That's how this works. You don't hit shots, you don't get to play.
Coach, I was
But
going to say something, but I don't want to be mean. So you said gravity, and anyways, I'm going to talk about something about how the Knicks guarded us, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, that is a fascinating story. Yeah, yeah.
You know what's interesting? Otto was actually active for the last game. He did not play though.
Who's that? Who?
The other Porter.
Oh, that he still plays for us. I completely.
Apparently, he was active for the last game.
Yeah,
He did not play.
Says Porter,
He was the only person who did not play.
Yeah, when someone says Porter now in the Raptors, I don't even think of him. I think of the other Porter. Like I
Yep.
forgot all together. Oh yeah, that dude still plays with us. He crossed my mind today as I talked about something. Oh yeah, he's still with us. Yeah.
I guess the only other thing that's interesting is Bruce Brown's original comments and continued comments. One with that, which is basically the initial comments was he was giving after the game praise to the New York Knicks, and then after when asked about it with Michael Grange, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but I'll just do this kind of a little bit from memory. People can look it up on Twitter. Essentially, he was like, "Well, I'm not in control of these things, so if Masai trades me, okay. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It is what it is." Right, and I distinctly remember it is what it is. So that's not I don't know. He pulled like a magic, type of "I'm not gonna be here no more."
There is what
I
we
don't
call
blame him.
clean up an aisle 5. Clean up an aisle 5. With the box.
So
I don't
thoughts on
blame him.
that? Yeah, no.
Don't blame him at all. I understand. He went from winning a championship to signing in Indiana, who's a decent team, and now you're going to a rebuilding team. That's a massive drop off for him. And It's not like he showed up and there were still Siakam and OG here. He showed up and they're not here right now. And the front office has made it clear that they're going in a different direction. So grant him his wish, man.
Yeah,
Send him out, see what you can get back. That's the way I
I,
look at it.
I think the quote does say something though. To me, it kind of spells like kind of the standing of the franchise. Like
It is
there's a
what it
lack,
is.
yeah, there's a lack of respect, right? Of like
Oh, that too.
where it's like, how bold you are playing against the team here. You're literally
Yeah,
kind
this
of
is
putting up your
Bruce
resume.
Brown. No
You know,
offense to
like,
Bruce Brown, but
right,
it's just
Bruce
like,
Brown.
well, I
This
mean,
ain't James
like,
Harden out here. This is Bruce Brown doing it. It's like, really? Who are you, dude? Like Bruce Brown? Like, come on. Like, I mean, it does have a feel, and maybe for some of us that are a little older, stuff like this used to be a very much of the norm back in the day,
yeah, I'm
pre-Masai.
just waiting for someone to body slam the coach next.
Right.
Like,
Pre-Masai,
I'm
this is a
not saying
lot
that
of
because of Dark Art. Just people,
yeah,
Sam
yeah, yeah.
Mitchell
No,
got Dark.
I know where you're going with it, but
Yeah,
this is the type of story you had pre-Masai, where it's like pretty
yeah.
much just folks just boldly saying like, you know what, I'm gonna be here for a few weeks and just telling
I'm not
people
going to another country, kind of a
there's
thing.
another one
That
exactly.
sort of thing
And
where it's like, ooh,
this feels very we've seen a lot of it lately, and I think it just shows a little bit of like the lack of of respect of the franchise right now. Be if it was like the Murray comments that were leaked in the paper a few weeks ago to this.
oh yeah, how Murray reportedly was heard, basically
Sign
that
that.
he was going to be here
Yeah.
in the summer, and he was also someone who potentially nixed a deal because he did not want to come here. So he's like, I will sign an extension and I will sign a cheaper one. Uh, so that's not good. He is a clutch client, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, um, which is interesting. A couple just housekeeping notes before we end this episode. I'm not gonna. There's a topic that I want to broach. We'll broach it the next week, or maybe in 2 weeks, or maybe at the end of the season. But I'll broach the second half of that, which is certain guys coming here or not. Number one, leave Kyle Lowry alone. He's on a playoff team. Okay, he's 38 years old. He's averaging 8 points a game. He's also not starting on that team, but like he is still somewhat serviceable as a player. He is not coming home. He's not coming here. Uh, Definitely not this season.
Actually, you gave the Freudian slip just now. That's the
Oh,
ideal team. Yeah. When you said home, that's the ideal team. You just the Freudian slip. If he's going
yes.
anywhere. Oops.
Whoops.
See your brotherly love. I see you.
That's true. That's true. That would actually be a really good team for him next year. Backing up with Maxi and stuff like that, and giving some
His
mentorship.
old coach. Yeah.
Yes, that he won a championship with. Oh,
Yeah.
who would have thought? And then he can retire as a Raptor with 2 rings.
What an idea.
What an idea. Yeah. Hey, he'll be here someday, watching his jersey be carried up to the rafters. I'll say that. But I don't think he's coming here, folks,
That is
and I
supreme.
don't think that we need him, and I don't think that that's the right guy to bring in to help us at all. Not right now, and I don't think he has that patience because I think he'd be more annoyed than anything of potential options to finally end his career out on, to go from like a playoff team with somewhat of a chance to our situation. That's disrespectful of the GOAT. The other thing is, I don't think that any of the players that just left are coming back. So I'll just leave it at that. If you feel like they are, more power to you. It's good to dream, good to have hope. Uh, there is a thing that I call copium, like powerful drug. But I don't think Pascal's coming back, and I don't think OG's coming back. So I'll leave it at that. That being said, it's been fun, and I'll talk to you folks later, and so will these guys. So take care, like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day, and peace.